If Savannah Del Zeno had known that dying led to a waiting room blaring elevator music, she would have tried to live a longer life. Words would be exchanged about the manner of her death when she stood before the Creator of all things for her judgment. The steady hum of fluorescent lighting grated on her nerves, nearly as much as the wailing moans of the recently deceased across the room. She refused to look at the group of socialites banded together like PTA moms at a school function. Part of her expected teacup dogs to climb out of their pastel monogrammed handbags. Savannah's gaze fell on a figure that stood out among the dazed and confused. The man in the back appeared as disinterested as she felt. He caught her eye more than once as they waited for whatever came ahead. He reminded her of a marble statue she once admired in a museum, not only because he sat so still, but because his face was perfection. Who knew she'd have to die to see the most beautiful man ever made? The hard plastic chair she sat in didn't agree with the billowing white wedding dress she wore. Why couldn't she have died in jeans and a t-shirt? At least her shoes were cute. She slid up the long skirt portion of the dress and took a look at her gorgeous designer heels with delicate golden straps wrapped around her ankles. She would have been upset if one drop of blood had fallen on them. Death hadn't been on her to-do list quite yet. The universe ought to have known better than to mess with her plans. She was supposed to get married and spend her final weeks on a glorious beach in the Caribbean. Savannah surveyed the other occupants of the room. When she started to see colorful outlines, she looked back down at her shoes. Shoes were tangible. Glowing outlines on people were not. With a twist of her ankle, she admired the daring footwear. One of the obnoxious women let out a shriek that would have curdled Savannah's blood if it still pumped through her veins. It was bad enough to have died at the hands of a man she was to marry, but to have died only to listen to the misery of silly women became too much to bear. She stood up and faced the group. "Will you be quiet? I mean, honestly, the saying is rest in peace, after all." The room fell silent after her outburst. She felt the gaze of every dead person in the room upon her. The stunned woman that Savannah directed her tirade wilted like a victim of abuse. Instead of feeling a moment's guilt, Savannah only became more irritated. She did not have the patience in life to deal with whining people and was less inclined to deal with them in her death.
Well, excuse her for not accepting her death as well as you. Some people had things to live for.
A surly woman from the circle of whiners piped in. Savannah rolled her eyes. Yes, I'm sure the soccer mom's 2.5 kids, a minivan in the drive, and yuppie husband in the bedroom were well worth every excruciating noise emitted from her collagen-injected lips. Savannah smiled before she turned her gaze toward the shining engagement ring on her finger.
You don't have to be so nasty,
Said the vocal leader of the group. And you don't have to be miserable. Savannah motioned around the room. See, even in death, you can choose to be the villain, victor, or victim. She shrugged her shoulders and turned away. The sensation of someone staring at her took root. She expected to see the statue that had caught her eye earlier, but he wasn't there. No one was. She sat back down in the blessed silence. Her eyes closed as she leaned against the chair, resting her head on the wall behind her. Even with hers closed, she knew the eyes of the victim squad were shooting proverbial daggers at her. Behind her eyelids, she could see the colorful outlines of the auras in the room. Sane people did not see auras, so Savannah refused to acknowledge them in any way.
Excuse me.
Savannah opened one eye and turned it toward the woman who spoke. The tiny woman couldn't be 5 feet tall. She carried a clipboard that appeared almost as big as her torso. The petite beauty had skin kissed by the sun. Golden snakes wrapped around the top of her arms, and she wore a simple gray suit with sensible black pumps.
The time has come for everyone to be sent to their destinations. Please form a single line, except you.
The tiny woman pointed to Savannah. She opened her other eye and sat up straight. "To hell with me, I guess," she quipped. From the moment of her birth, her soul had been bound for hell. Her idiot fiancé wrecked her perfectly planned timeline.
He will be with you shortly. The rest of you, please follow me.
Before Savannah could ask who he was, the woman disappeared through a door, followed by the remaining occupants of the room. Savannah stood up once more, going through the motions of stretching after sitting for an extended period of time. A trickle of panic rode up her spine, but she locked it down with a moment of mental stillness. Even though her mind told her she should loosen up her muscles, she couldn't actually feel them. That reality alone begged the question if she still even had a body. How much of her present experiences stemmed from reality or a strong illusion? Savannah tapped her foot against the ground. The clicking sound filled the void of noise. She exhaled for no other reason than to hear something else.
That is no longer necessary.
Savannah jumped at the sound of a deep male voice. She swung around in surprise and stared at a man who had not been there only a second before. "What?" she asked.
Breathing. You have no need for oxygen.
"Thank you, Captain Obvious."
You're quite welcome, Miss Delzeno.
Savannah cocked her head to one side and appraised him the same way she would have appraised a pair of shoes, deeming him too expensive to buy and painful to walk on. "Who are you?" she asked.
Well, I'm not shoes.
He said with a smirk. It was the smirk that brought her attention to his lips. He had nice lips, full and soft, the kind that made her wonder what they tasted like. His body bore a tale of training without the bulk of weightlifting. His eyes were a defining feature. They were green, but one was light and one was dark. She wanted to run her fingers through his thick black hair. Savannah decided to follow another train of thought and repeated her question.
I'm death.
"You're a bit late. I'm already dead." Savannah supposed that she should attempt to curb her sarcasm.
Death is never a permanent state. It's the end of one life and the beginning of another.
Her long-dead libido sparked to life, and she had the strangest urge to lean in and inhale his scent to find out if he smelled as good as he looked. Perhaps a tryst with the sexy man with impeccable taste in suits would distract her from the demon coming to claim her soul. "Well now, which is it? A moment ago you said I was dead. Now you're insinuating I'm not. Are you always so inconsistent?" The wheels of her thoughts turned as she tried to think of ways to stay in control of the verbal dance. In the back of her mind, she felt fear and panic battle for control, but she refused to acknowledge either.
If you are accepting of the end of your life, I can call Esmeralda back. She would be happy to lead you toward your destination.
Savannah played cards enough in her lifetime to know a bluff when she heard one. She tucked away the name of the tiny woman. "Okay, call her," she said. She began to count. She gave him 5 seconds to call her bluff. If he didn't call the woman back, she had him.
Miss Delzeno, I can read your mind. As amusing as your train of thought is, I have come to you with a proposition.
He said. She wondered if anyone else could say they amused death in their life. Then she remembered she was dead and couldn't help but laugh. "A deal with the devil?" she asked.
I'm neither devil nor God. As I told you, I am death.
"Is that a name, a profession, or a statement?" she asked.
Miss Delzeno, either you are interested in my proposal, or you are not. Which is it?
"As I haven't yet heard your proposal, I don't think it's appropriate to ask me that question."
If you'd cease your prattle, I would deliver it.
"Listen, buddy, I've sort of had a bad day. I managed to be killed in my wedding dress, by the groom. As I lay dying, my last thought was about the crack in the ceiling above me. So forgive me for not dancing to your fiddle,"
That's the devil.
he said. "What?" she asked.
The fiddle. Oh, never mind. The devil could take a lesson from you in annoyance, though I assure you, he does well on his own. Sit down and remain quiet.
Despite the will to defy his words, Savannah sat. When she opened her mouth to speak, no words came out. Irritated over his heavy-handedness, she stuck her tongue out at him.
Cute.
A ripple of irritation flared across his face.
I need an assistant. I am offering you the choice of having your life reinstated. The position has an excellent salary and benefit package.
She tried to speak, but again could not. She pointed to her mouth, indicating that she wished to speak.
Oh, my apologies. Please.
He motioned for her to continue. "What is the job description?" Savannah did not know what made her curious about the job. If anything, it would give her the opportunity to make sure her ex-fiancé suffered the consequences of his action. She still had 6 weeks before she met the demon who haunted her dreams and would take her to hell. That was plenty of time to make him pray for death.
You won't have to kill anyone if that's your concern. Humans kill each other enough that it is no longer necessary. There are some, however, that choose to remain among the living or cannot accept their deaths. My last assistant helped bring those souls to their destination.
Savannah processed what he said. She assumed he meant ghosts. She also wondered what happened to the last assistant.
Yes, ghosts, spirits, or poltergeists, whatever you wish to call them, they should not be among the living. Esmeralda is getting married and no longer wishes to carry on our arrangement. She chose you for this position.
He said. Good God, why? I'm not exactly a likable person.
I did not ask why she chose you. Her recommendation was enough. The position is yours, should you want it.
As he spoke, an idea flitted through Savannah's mind. Before it had time to take form, he addressed it.
You were not killed for this position. That would have happened regardless. The only difference is, without me, you would have already gone to your destination.
What is my destination? Some questions just had to be asked. She forced all other thoughts from her mind. Her secrets were not for him to know.
I can't answer that. It is part of your decision. If you feel you have led a fulfilled life, do not let me persuade you away from beginning the start of your afterlife. However, if you feel there is a life yet to be lived, consider my proposal.
A fulfilled life. Savannah led what could be described as a life of rice and toast, all substance, no flavor. What kind of salary? She asked.
Money is no object. You will be issued a credit card that can be used anywhere for anything. I don't care what you spend, as long as you get the job done. All training will be provided. The only thing required is that when you are called upon, you answer immediately without question.
Can I kill my ex-fiancé? Again, some questions just had to be asked.
There are laws against killing humans. I do not recommend you break them.
His face showed no sign of a readable expression. It was then that Savannah knew she had made her decision. For the next couple of weeks, she would become the assistant to death. What do I call you? She asked.
Azrael.
Like the archangel? Savannah ignored supernatural things of the world, but she vaguely remembered an angel with the name Azrael. I should warn you before you hear my answer. I don't like people. I hate mornings. I take pride in being insubordinate. I don't think I can talk without sarcasm. I am petty and spoiled. I have no intention of changing.
Miss Del Zeno.
Her name slid off his tongue, wrapped with impatience.
I am the Archangel Azrael, and I don't care if you had the personality of Lucian after a hangover. I have no intention of finding out. I accept you, flaws and all, on Esmeralda's recommendation. Do you accept my proposition?
He stared at her. She felt his gaze sear through her soul. She neglected to inform him that he'd get to know her if she wanted him to get to know her. She would do whatever, or whomever, she wanted before the debt of her soul was due. Yes, Azrael, I accept.
It is settled, then.
Azrael turned and began to walk away. Before she could comment on his rude behavior, he said,
You will be placed in a medically induced coma. Instructions will be given to you as you recover from your injuries. This cannot be avoided. My apologies for any discomfort you will have.
She started to reply, but she was sucked into a dark tunnel with specks of light that stretched as she shot past them. What the heck was happening to her? As the tunnel progressed, she began to regain the use of her senses. Intense pain interrupted her curiosity and became so unbearable that Savannah questioned her decision. When her heart began to beat, pain exploded with each thump in her chest. As it mounted, her consciousness lessened until she slipped into the welcoming darkness of sleep.